Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. I hope it's been a great week for everyone. I hope that miracles have happened. I hope that your dreams have come true. I hope that you are smiling and enjoying every minute of your precious, precious life. And if that hasn't exactly been a description of your week, well, then I hope we turn that around today and that you can look forward to all of that next week. Good afternoon, Heidi. Glad you're here. First one. You're so good at that. You're so good at that. I miss you when you're not here. Cac's reacting to it too. I love it. Yeah, we love having you here. So, how's the week been? How's life treating you? Um, what's going on in your life? In line for the COVID shot. I got the COVID shot um, Friday. Friday. And it was easy. There was no line. I'd tell everybody to come to Ventura. I mean, there really was. It was efficient. There were a lot of people there. Um, but when I arrived, there was no line. I walked right in. They said, go to that table. Then that table said, go to that table. And then someone there walked me over to my chair. And the nurse who was behind the table on the other side said, come here, you're next. And the only time I had to wait was the 15 minutes they make you wait after the shot. So I have no complaints at all.
Miracle.
Miracle, miracle, counts as a miracle. We're counting miracles today. Why not?
I'm going to get the miracle bell out, and every time somebody says they've had a miracle, we'll ring the bell.
Okay, okay. There's always the wine bell downstairs. We miss you when you're not here, too. We miss you when you're not here, too, Heidi. 2.5 hours. 1:30 appointment, and at 1:30 I was sitting in the waiting for 15 minutes area and had been there for about 5 minutes already. It was amazing.
Wine bell.
Wine bell, okay.
I mean, no.
No,
Miracle
bell. Okay.
Not the wine
Here,
bell.
let's put it someplace where it
There.
can be reached. There. The technical department is working on technical stuff. Magic Mountain, huh? I got vaccinated in Ventura at the fairgrounds. And it was easy. They made you wait for 30 minutes after the shot. You know, Donna, I went online on like a Monday. There were no shots available. There were no appointments available. Check back and sign up here, and we'll let you know when there are appointments available. I never got that email. I was never informed. But CAC went on the next day, same place, and scheduled. She said, "I just scheduled you an appointment. You're in. Go." Um, so I think it's all about timing. If you hit it right, they had all kinds of openings the next day. And like I say, I never did get any information that said we now have openings, but I didn't care because I had an appointment by then. Yeah. Come to Ventura. Good time to read a book. Yes, I brought a book with me and didn't have time to open it, which I was disappointed because I'm trying to get through this fabulous book. But that's beside the point. Yeah, Kat does have a magic touch. Talk to her. Maybe she can schedule an appointment for you. Donna needs an appointment.
Donna well?
Yeah. We'll put her to work on it. Spirit updates. Spirit. Spirit is a character. I think I've mentioned that before. He continues to be a character. Now, he has learned, I think, that Marlene is not the friendliest cat on the block. And she loves to hiss and spit. It's just what she does. She hisses and spits at us. But she gets him cornered. But he immediately rolls over and goes, okay, fine. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. We We were concerned about Socrates. We are still a little concerned about Socrates. We took him to the vet, and I've had several talks with him about it's not time to leave yet. And he seems to be better. And he's making friends with Tipsy. I'm so confused. Anyway, Donna would like to be put in the cheese dome. Yes?
It's a miracle.
Which is a miracle?
Spirit and everybody talking to each other.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead. All right, thank you.
Donna's okay. Donna Cheese Dome.
Donna Cheese Dome.
What does she want?
I think that's for Donna. Is that for the vaccination that you want to be put in the cheese dome? Just let you know who know. Hi, Laura. Glad you're here. Always glad to see you. Yay. And happy Sunday to Lainey. Yay. This is fun. This is fun. Everybody's arriving at about the same time. Yay. Those of you who just got here, we're talking about COVID shots and getting them and whether or not you have to wait in line. Turns out in Ventura you don't. I didn't. I drove in, I parked, I walked in, I kept walking. They just kept moving me from one table to the next until I sat down and was given my vaccination by a wonderful nurse who lives in Florida and said that literally, hold on just a minute, please. We're trying to work out here. Anyway, the nurse was from Florida and she was fabulous, and she said there are literally thousands of nurses here from all over the country. California put out a call and they are all answering it. She was marvelous. And we chatted because there was nobody else waiting in the chairs behind me, but they had lots and lots of chairs. I mean, there must have been 25, 30, maybe more positions. So as people were coming in, they were just taking them. It was fabulous. Yes, please, Donna says. In the cheese dome for vaccination. Okay, consider it done. Happy Sunday, Lainey. Hello, Kirk. Hello, Jennifer. The cheese dome reference was Donna asked to be put in the cheese dome for being able to get an appointment and get a vaccination. Happy Sunday, Jefferson. My goodness. Everybody's here. I love it. I love it. Happy Sunday. You know, I do occasionally on Sundays have breakfast thinking, what if nobody shows up today? What will I do? I know, incidentally, what I would do. I would do this anyway. I just wouldn't have all the fun of playing with all of you and talking to you and talking about your lives as well. But I would still do a talk because I figure if you're not here, you're going to check in later. To be something waiting for you. So, there we go. In case you were wondering. Now you know. Lainey's not going to do the shot. God's taking care of her. Okay. We all have to do what's best for us. Don't we? Gotta think about what's right for us. And I think there's something to be said for all of that. God is in the shot. Well, yes, God's everywhere. God's in the shot. And somebody did say, trust God and tie up the camel, which I think is the equivalent of trust God and get the vaccine. But everybody's got to do what's right for him. And Lainey's a very bright lady, so I'm not worried about her. Matthew, hello, darling. Happy Sunday. Glad you're here. Oh, this is so much fun. Sometimes I want to just sit here and welcome people as they walk in and just chit chat a little bit. But then if I do that, eventually you'd all stop coming, wouldn't you? That would not be good. I'd miss you so much. What started all this conversation was having missed Heidi last week, and she said that was because she was standing in line waiting for her COVID shot. We do indeed all have choices. Gee, can I quote you on that, Heidi? I like that. It's an important thing to remember, that we all have choices. And we do indeed all have choices. Merlin has a choice to be a nice cat. She hasn't taken that choice yet. Um, but she might someday. I'm open to it. Socrates has the choice to be a well cat, and we're all very open to that. Tipsy, I think, is in love with Socrates. That's Tipsy the dog in love with Socrates the cat. But then Socrates is absolutely gorgeous, and he's kind of hard not to love. So there you go. Nancy, hello, darling. Where is Spirit? Where is Spirit?
I was talking to him, and
And did he go away?
he was insulted, so
He was insulted. Okay, he'll be back.
he'll be back. You
He'll
may
be
get
back.
to see him. He's been dashing in and out.
Okay. Well, if he wanders this way, let's show him off. He is a cutie. So in the middle of the night, I thought, fast asleep. And I feel this little thing kind of jump on the bed and then walk across me and then walk back, and it stopped, kissed me right on the lips, and left. Must have been something I said. He's a cutie. He's a cute. We have one of those long poles with the furry tails on the end that he likes to play with. And apparently he didn't like where we were keeping it, so we went and got it and put it under the bed. He's a little cat. He's not a little tiny kitten, but he's not big. And he lugged this thing, under the bed. Now his collar is missing again. He takes it off. And we haven't located it yet this time. Um, but I think it's under the bed with the furry thing with the long handle again, because that seems to be his hiding place. Is under somewhere under the bed, and we keep finding things. And Cack says he's dashing between rooms. He is indeed. Yes, Jennifer, that is what kittens do, and he's very much like that. I think I'll be here. I think I'll be over there. And you don't even see him moving sometimes from one place to the other. Plus, which we have decided that at in some other lifetime he was a Wallenda because he can fly through the air. He's like a trapeze artist without the trapeze. Just and you don't even see it happening. He's just all of a sudden on the other side of the world. He's amazing, amazing little guy. So right now I have cats on either side of me. I just don't have him yet. I have Merlin over here all curled up in what was Truffle's bed. And we have Socrates over on this side all curled up. And it's just the way it goes around here. I have trouble sometimes remembering that there are only 3 cats and 2 dogs right now because it feels like a menagerie. And we had more than that at one point, but I don't remember it feeling this crazy. But it's okay. We love them all. They're all pretty cute. And they're all characters. I can't imagine why we seem to attract characters, but we do. We do. Heidi says he probably has a stash. Oh, I'm sure he has a stash. I'm missing a couple of things too, and I just haven't brought it up recently because we may have to move the bed to find out what's where. He's a little pack rat. And you don't see him doing it. That's what's so amazing. It just sort of happens. So, Mercury retrograde. How's it going? Actually, things have been better around here since Mercury retrograde started. Yeah, hello, Merlin. She's now taking up her position on, which is where she likes to be. How's it going with Mercury? We've had kind of an interesting week, but it was like everything kind of shifted down yesterday and got better. Got better. Went to Santa Barbara to do a wedding yesterday, and gorgeous couple. And it ran late getting started. It was a small but beautiful wedding um, at the Baccarat, which is the Ritz Carlton in Santa Barbara. And everything, I arrived when I was supposed to, on time, ahead of schedule. Um, got a little tram ride to their villa, checked in, got the paperwork handled, and then things just ran late. I mean, ran late. But I had the greatest little company. Um, young man, 6, and then he stopped and said, "Well, almost 6. I'm still 5, but I'll be 6 very soon." And Aiden and I had a long conversation because everything was running late. And he was charming. Charming. I would have taken Aiden home if they'd let me. It was adorable. I'm reading Heidi's comment that her friend Kathy found 3 TV remotes in the toy pile. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. This guy's capable of that. Yeah, let's change our minds about this Mercury thing. I talked about it Wednesday. Um, if, in fact, the universe has our back and everything that happens for our highest good, then whatever it is that Mercury is bringing on at any given moment, what if it's for our highest good? And what if we looked at it that way? What if we said, okay, this, because Mercury makes you stop, doesn't it? Makes you stop and go, ooh, okay, what's going on here? What if we stopped, took a deep breath, and said, if this is for my highest good, if the universe always has my back and it never does anything except for my highest good, then where is my highest good in this? Hmm? What's the gift in this for me? Can I find it now? Will I have to wait and look for it later? Or am I willing to look for it right now, right in the middle of it? Hmm? What if? He says Mercury kicked my butt this week in a good way. Good, good, good. You got it. You got it. Yeah. So here we are, midway through, well, all the way through, aren't we? February starts tomorrow. All the way through the first month of the new year. Got me thinking. I'm still reading Heidi's thing because it's wonderful. She says, all my pots started boiling all at once. A lot of doors I knocked on opened all at once. Wow! Wow! New year, new opportunity, new energy. Um, and what if Mercury is our friend? He is a messenger, after all. He is a messenger. What if he's our friend? What if all this stuff that we've been complaining about all this time has actually all been for our greatest good? Sometimes in retrospect we get that, but what if we got it up front? What if instead of going, oh, Mercury retrograde, what's going to happen, we say, it's the Mercury retrograde. I need to pay attention to more details. I need to tie down my tech. I need to make sure I'm communicating clearly. What if we just took it as a warning to be more careful, a little bit more detail oriented? Living with a Virgo who is very detail oriented, I can tell you. I'm amazed she ever complains about Mercury because she communicates clearly, she pays attention to detail, she's aware. And, the Libra here is going, la, 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 la. But now I look at Mercury differently. Instead of dreading it, I say, if it's it's working for my highest good, then what do I need to pay attention to? What details do I need not to miss? How can I communicate more clearly, especially during this time? So, Heidi, those doors are opening. Are you walking through yet? Yeah, I think sometimes we just need to remember to allow things to happen as they do. Should suggest that we might know better. And I don't know about you, but one thing I have learned is I generally don't. The universe has got a better plan than I do. It's an amazing thing. Running through the open doors. Okay, there's my girl. Yay! So, let me talk to you guys for a few minutes. Are you ready? Let me talk to you. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I think that this being a new year, thank God, and so much being new in it, mostly thank God, and I'm really ready for new. I think we all are. I think that I'd like to use my time with you today to return to some spiritual basics. Those of you who were with me at Spirit Works know that it's the tradition in religious science churches to review the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind in the month of January. And I did that every January for over 20 years. But I'd like to do something a little different today. Something that I think might hit a little closer to home in this new year that's opening up with its new opportunities and its new challenges. Specifically, I'd like to take a look at chapters 11 and 12 in Lessons of Truth by H. Emily Cady. Lessons in Truth is the unity equivalent of the Science of Mind. It is the book. And chapters 11 and 12, well, I have to admit, are my favorites. I could talk about chapters 1 through 10, but chapters 11 and 12 speak to spiritual gifts and service and what Cady calls unity of the spirit. And I think those 2 chapters in particular speak to the personal application of metaphysical principles in each one of our lives. And frankly, the 2 chapters tend to leave me breathless. So, let's talk about spiritual gifts. How we come to recognize them and how we are or could be or might be using them in our own lives and in the world. Spiritual gifts are defined in the Bible in several places. And in case you've been wondering, there are a lot of them. Some are obviously what they are. Others might need a little explanation for those of us that don't necessarily speak Bible English or get the religious definition of words that are sometimes used in a different way in the secular world. For instance, in Romans 12, they list spiritual gifts. And one of them is exhortation, which biblically, religiously, is to help someone with words of encouragement, comfort, consolation, and to counsel them to help be all God wants them to be. Romans also lists giving, leadership, mercy, prophecy, service, teaching, all as spiritual gifts. Then on to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 12, in case you want to look it up, talks about the spiritual gift of administration, which is guiding others toward the accomplishment of God-given goals and directives by planning, organizing, and supervising. Management class. Then there is the gift of apostleship, which is to be sent forth to new frontiers with the gospel, providing leadership over church bodies and maintaining authority over spiritual matters pertaining to the church. Why does that feel very much like Paul? Then there is the gift of discernment, which is to clearly distinguish truth from error by judging whether the behavior or teaching is from God, Satan, human error, or human power. Got that? If you're taking notes, well, God bless you. In the same area, they list faith and healing, knowledge and miracles, prophecy and teaching, and helps, which is to render support or assistance to others, and tongues, which is to speak in a language not previously learned, so unbelievers can hear God's message in their own language. And then there is also tongues interpretation and wisdom, which is to apply knowledge to life in such a way as to make spiritual truths quite relevant and practical in proper decision-making and daily life situations. Got it? Ephesians lists being an apostle, evangelism, being a pastor, prophecy and teaching. Prophecy and teaching seem to pop up quite a bit. And then there are also miscellaneous passages that talk about celibacy, hospitality, martyrdom, missionary work, and voluntary poverty. Most of us wouldn't necessarily want to do that. And I'm sure there are many more. That was just my count before my eyes started rolling around in my head. And incidentally, they say, the greatest spiritual gift of all is love. So, what became clear to me is that spiritual gifts are meant to be used to serve God and to serve others in their discovery of God. What comes to mind is that there are all kinds of spiritual gifts that you don't find specifically in the Bible. Things that make you aware of the presence that is somebody's gift being expressed. The first time I ever bit into a Mrs. Fields cookie. Anyway, so here's my question for you today. What are your spiritual gifts? How long have you known that you have them? Have you even been aware that they are spiritual gifts? Or did you just consider it something that you were good at and not give it much more thought than that because it came easily to you? As a child, I loved speaking. I'd set up a microphone. I really did this. I'd set up a microphone on a table on our back porch and broadcast the news as I understood it to the neighborhood every Sunday morning. Honest, I did that. They must have been a very patient group. I mean, I used my mother's loudspeaker equipment, so I really did broadcast it to the neighborhood. But no one ever complained. And when I got older, I joined the speech and debating team, and I had a mentor who believed in me and said, yes, It was exciting. It's always exciting when someone believes in you. And then it seemed like it all came to a halt. My mother was quite ill, and I dropped out of school. And then, in what seemed like no time at all, I got married and raised three wonderful children and got involved in everything from Amway to volunteering. I wasn't good at sales in Amway. Oh, I was flat out bad in sales at Amway. But I loved putting on the presentation, and the presentations made sales for everyone else. In volunteering, I spoke to audiences about supporting worthy organizations, and it seemed to work. We raised a lot of money. And then one day, when it seemed like it had all fallen apart, I found myself in a metaphysical church. And as long as I was there, I took classes, I studied. I think I knew my life was about to change, but I was clueless about what that would look like, or even what I should do about it. So I studied. And the more I studied, the more doors opened. Are you with me, Heidi? I became a licensed practitioner of religious science. And then one Sunday, sitting in church, I found myself responding to what the minister had just said by saying to myself, I wouldn't have said that way. And a voice in my head said, well, what would you have said? And the other voice, my voice in my head, said, well, I would have said whatever it was. Well, I got to tell you, about the third time that morning that those thoughts crossed my mind, and the other voice said, so what are you going to do about it? I seem to have a very Socratic God. It nearly always asks leading questions. Anyway, that day led to miracles. I went to ministerial school. That's its own story. I went into the ministry. More miracles happened. I was the senior minister of a wonderful church with a wonderful congregation. I loved what I was doing in the world, and I believed I was making a difference. And then I got sick. So now, after reading the chapter on spiritual gifts, I'm experiencing deep gratitude for all of the doors that opened and all of the people who said yes. In retrospect, I really was entertaining angels unawares. So today I'm well, and I'm serving a wonderful online spiritual community that I love, and I'm learning to be open even more to Spirit's guidance in a new way. And I'm waiting to discover what other gifts I might use, because I'm still here. So apparently, God isn't finished with me yet. It's all wonderful. It really is. And I could get really excited about the spiritual gifts thing, except that then Emily Cady writes of letting go of our attachment to our spiritual gifts, that we may receive greater spiritual gifts. And in my opinion, she blows the top off her teachings in doing so. Ultimately, she asks us to surrender our attachment to a single gift or a single outcome and allow Spirit to express through us as it will. See, that means letting go of our attachment to our idea of the highest good and trusting that God has an even higher, better, unlimited life in store for us. A higher, better, unlimited life than we can even imagine or define. I'm still a little breathless from reading this chapter, which I have done multiple times and will continue to do. It's such a timely message. And I know deep in my heart that if we really are willing to surrender, greater things will happen. I have had for such a long time a very specific picture in my mind of where my gifts were taking me and what that would look like. And although I got very close, never quite got there, you know, to that picture, to that spot where I could say, this is it. Anybody else been there? So close. And it can feel like failure. It can be the cause of more than a few sleepless nights asking, what went wrong? What else? What more could I have done? And I've always been a little afraid to ask the question out loud for fear someone might actually answer it. We can be so busy trying to figure it all out that it never really occurs to us that everything that transpired may have been the working out of the desire to do even greater things. See, I believe we must allow God to speak to us. And listen. For a long time, one of my favorite prayers has been, here I am, send me. My practice now is more often to simply be still, to wait, to listen, to take my time and get to know and understand the God within me, the speaker of the still small voice that is sometimes a roar. We can get to know our own spiritual gifts and how best to use them by being still and listening. No doubt we should pay attention to those things that we do easily and effortlessly that in some way serve the highest good. Of course we should. Of course we should. But then there's the willingness to be open to more, to surrender our ideas, my ideas, of what we are supposed to be doing, and allow Spirit within to direct our lives. It means letting go of our pictures, sometimes our highly cherished, often fought for pictures. It's a scary time. Can be. But it is also an exciting time, isn't it? So, what are your gifts? My gifts, as I understand them today, are speaking, teaching, inspiring, hopefully, motivating, and loving. And I am open to more. or to an even greater expression of the gifts that I have identified. And I am every day more and more curious about those that perhaps I have not yet identified. Are you open, willing, courageous? So let me speak to the final chapter. Unity of the Spirit. I like the words even. It feels good to say them. First and foremost, it is about always being aware of our oneness with God. And also being aware that that same oneness is universal and includes everyone. Everyone. Whether they think like we do, or act like we do, or believe like we do, or not. Everyone is, well, it's everyone. Katie recommends that when we deal with others who do not see the truth as we do, that we seek to find the common ground, the oneness that is the truth for all. Our mission, she says, is not to demand that we have the truth and that they do not, but to recognize the one presence in everyone and everything. We can say to ourselves, and silently maybe best, the God in me sees and recognizes the God in you. We can affirm that the one Spirit lives within this person, and then rest assured that that's the truth, because it has to be. There is nothing more we need to do except live what we believe. And in living what we believe, become a beacon for those who are searching. My oldest, in chronological time, friend found Jesus Christ and claimed him as her personal Lord and Savior. All about the same time I was studying metaphysics. She was quite certain that if I didn't do as she had done, if I didn't say the words, I was going to go to hell. She told me she was praying for my immortal soul. We had more than a few spirited conversations. So finally I told her I was grateful for her prayers and that I would be willing to say the words if it would make her feel better, but that my interpretation of those words would very likely be different than hers. She wasn't really happy about that. But ultimately we came to an agreement that each of us had found a path that worked for us to help us find God, and we celebrated that. It not only saved a lifelong friendship, but over the years it has helped us talk about our spirituality without making each other wrong. At least that's my interpretation. She may still be praying for my immortal soul, and I am at peace with that. Prayer never hurts. She wants to pray for my soul. Thank you. All prayers accepted. I celebrate the Spirit within each one of us, knowing that it is and we are one. So here's your homework assignment. This week, spend time listening to the voice within you. Just go to a quiet corner and shut off the noise and listen. If you are naturally a quiet person, it may speak to you in a whisper. you are more outgoing, well, it may be too. God speaks to each of us in a voice we will listen to, just as we must learn to speak to one another in voices that will be listened to. Perhaps the gifts that you know about, what you've always been good at, is only the beginning. What more might there be? What other gifts might you possess? What more might you be? If you listen to that voice within without arguing, specifically arguing for your own limitations, you may learn something. But here is something that I know about you right now. That you are right now one with God, one with creation, one with the unlimited. You have gifts you have yet to discover. You have gifts you have yet to use. The world and God are waiting. In fact, Romans 8:19 tells us nature waits with eager longing for the children of God to be revealed. Listen. Listen. With an open heart and an open mind, and see what God, for you, as you, can do. Just listen. And then follow. I love those chapters. Hold on, I'm checking in on you. Hi, Tony. Spend some time listening. I can tell you that I see love and compassion and loyalty and friendship. There's a beginning for you. There's a beginning. It's a place to start. We all have to start somewhere. So, how will you use your spiritual gifts this week? I think listening is also a spiritual gift. We're not all good at it. Some of us have to work a little harder. And sometimes your spiritual gifts are obvious. And sometimes not so obvious. And I think all too often we think if it comes, it can't be qualified as a spiritual gift. It's just what I do. That would be the point. That would be the point. It's what you do. Hello, Brenda. The Unity book is Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady, Cady. I'm sure you can get copies on Amazon, new, around forever. Forever. It's got its own interesting story. Maybe I'll tell that at some point. Emily, Emilie, Cady, CADY, Lessons in Truth. Wonderful book. Wonderful book. You know, when I left Spirit Works, I went to the forest for a while, and and I met up. Long story short, met up with the Unity group there, and became their minister. They were looking for a minister. I was looking for a spiritual community, and we meshed. And they were the most beautiful, delightful, loving, fabulous people. Um, and so for nearly 4 years, I was their minister until we moved, and loved them. What it introduced me to, thank you for the link, what it introduced me to was more of the Unity publications that I was not aware of. I think I probably already had a copy of Lessons in Truth, but I probably hadn't read it. So I did. Yeah, Cax's Thrift Books have several copies. I'm sure they do. It's a fabulous book. It's just a fabulous book. And Katie writes very well, easy to understand, simple, down to earth language. Interestingly enough, she was not one of the founders of Unity. The Fillmores did that, Myrtle, and I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, the Fillmores. Um, but Katie was one of their teachers, and she wrote Lessons in Truth, which became their textbook. It's Jennifer just got it on Kindle for 99 cents. There you go. Be the best 99 cents you ever spent. It's terrific. It's really terrific. You'll love it. So, here we go into a new week. What are you expecting? What are you prophesying? You know, we all have the gift of prophecy. We just don't all use it real well. What are you saying is going to happen this week? Oh, now Cax found a free PDF to download. Oh my goodness. It's a sizable book. It might cost you more than 99 cents to print it out. But if you want to read it online, you're all set. I don't like to read on a screen. I don't know why. I don't. I like physical books. I like something I can hold on to and turn the pages and feel and take with me while waiting in line. Maybe for your COVID shot. Whatever. Anyway, let's take a moment and let's pray, shall we? Before we go out into this great big wonderful world to make it an even more great big wonderful place. Yes, Donna, you are. Yes, you are. So let's take a moment. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. Otherwise, just soft focus so that your attention is going within. It's hard to hear the still small voice. It is hard to feel God if you're wrapped up in the world. Although sometimes if we look at the world, we can see God very clearly. But for now, rather than staring at your computer screen, either soft focus or close your eyes and listen. Sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's a picture. Spirit speaks to each one of us through us in a way that communicates most clearly if we are open. So I know for each of us right now that we are open, that we are willing, that we are able to see the pictures, to feel the feelings, to hear the words, to sense the message, each of us in our own way. And so we will spend the next minute in silence. and be open. And know that we will feel or hear or sense or know. Whatever it is, we need to know. Silence. Know that you can return to this place anytime. Only to go within. To know that you are guided, you are protected, you are sustained, and you are inspired by a God that knows only good. Let us live our lives accordingly, that we may make use of the gifts that we have been given in every moment. Let us know that all those who ask for prayer have opened the door. Let healing begin. All prayers are answered. Let us trust that. Let us trust Spirit. And in doing so, let us learn to trust the Spirit within us. In the church in which I was raised, at the end of the service, the priest would say, "Go with God." What I have learned is that you can go no other way. You take God with you wherever you go. And so it is. Have a fabulous. Be sure and check my postings for the 64 Ways for 64 Days, the season for peace and nonviolence. And we've got 2 postings up there already, one for yesterday, one for today, and there'll be one for tomorrow. I love you. Let's see each other on Wednesday. Bring friends. Kirk, I love you. I'm in. I'll see you all on Wednesday.